everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to get Jellyfin working with hardware acceleration. Before I get started, I wanted to mention that I'm using the NVIDIA GPU version of Jellyfin with already having everything set up here. So if I go ahead and launch this, as you can see I already have my movies and my shows already loaded, and I would suggest you doing the same before getting started. Now that I've logged in, as you can see here, I have some movies preloaded. And I just quickly wanted to go over why hardware acceleration is needed. So for some movies, for example, I have here Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which if I go ahead and launch, loads nice and quick. Everything is going well. And so now if I just want to go ahead and look at the playback info here, the reason why this one, usually sometimes here it says direct streaming, which means you should have zero performance issues whatsoever on anything you do. But here I have Interstellar installed, which is a 4K movie. And for me, inside of here, as you can see, I have it as 4K. And if I go to playback info here, right here, it says transcoding. And if I go back to my CasaOS home, as you can see, the CPU is being very much stressed, which is the main reason why for doing hardware acceleration. Do not stress out your CPU. So, and the way to activate this is by going to the administration dashboard, going to the playback, and inside of hardware acceleration, of course for this tutorial I'm going to be showing NVIDIA, which will be these drives. Usually add HVAC here. Everything else should be fine. Shouldn't have to do anything else. Should be able to save. Got it. And then now for me, if you go ahead and try and launch this playback error will come up. Okay, so as a start, you will need to get to make sure you have NVIDIA drivers installed. And to do this, what you're going to have to do is first go inside of the terminal, log in with your user and password that you created. Go ahead and connect, and now I'm inside of my server. Now for here, we're going to need to go to a file called sources.list, and we're going to have to make it so we can access non-open source repositories in order to get the NVIDIA drivers. So for here, what we're going to do is we're going to do sudo nano, and then normally I have links down in the description for everything. It's usually etc/apt/sources.list, but for us we are in a user account, so we're gonna have to go back. Oops, we're gonna have to go back one file, so .. to go back one, then another .. to get to the root folder. Now we can do etc/apt/ and then now here you can either type in sources.list or just do so and then press tab to finish it off. And then type here. Make sure you are prompted for this password or else you will not be able to save since we are editing to root. Now that we're in here, what we're going to have to do is add a copy and paste. The copy and paste will be something I'll provide in the description, but I'll also show here. So it is important to note you can't click. I'm clicking around here and I can't click to where you want. You need to use the arrow keys. And instead of having to manually go all the way here, usually a faster way is to just go to the next line and then just go back one. So here, and then make sure don't paste, it will not work. You will go down to like something like this. What you need to do is you need to do a space and you need to right click, paste. Then go down one, space, right click, paste. So these top two lines, you want to do that for that. Then you want to do the same thing for these two as well. And then lastly, you want to do it for these last two, which I already have filled out here. So now you just want to do Control X to get the save modifier, then you want to click Y, then enter. Once you've done that, you've now made it so you can actually get it. So now what you want to do is you want to do sudo apt-update. This will update your packages. Now what you would need to do is you would just need to do a sudo apt install nvidia-driver. Now for me, I have already installed this, and it is important to note when I initially did this, two things to kind of point out. One, there was a warning where I had to enter, it said to fix this, type, and then it gave me a thing. Just copy what it says to do, paste it, wait for it to finish, and then try this again and it should work. When you're coming to the end, I got this picture, which means you will probably also get this same thing. Pretty much you'll get something that looks similar to what this is, and pretty much all you have to do is just click enter to confirm, and then it will just go back to installing, wait for it to finish. Once you're finished, what you want to do is you just want to go up here to the settings, go ahead and get a restart. Are you sure? Yes. And then now wait for it to restart. Okay, back after a quick restart. Back into the CasaOS home here. There was one more thing we're going to need to do, and that is going to be installing the nvidia-container-toolkit. I've linked all the copies because they are quite big, but first things first, what we're going to need to do is go ahead and start with this one right here. So this is the install page, which will be linked below. All we're going to do is just copy each one at a time. So I'm just going to right click, copy. You can use Control C for this. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We just go to the terminal, log back in. And now that we're here, just going to go ahead and paste. Enter that, and it will require a password. Yours will not look the same as mine, as I already have it installed, but this install should look pretty similar to other installs with using Y to confirm. After this, it may take some time. Alright, so now that we've done this top one, we can go ahead and skip past this one, because this one is if you would want to use experimental, which we do not. Now you just want to go ahead and run this sudo apt-get update. This will run through and install just like that, any updates that it needs to, and now we're going to be installing the actual installer here. So go ahead and paste this. And for here, obviously for me, I already have this installed, so for you, it will look a little bit different. Go through and install. May take some time, completely fine. Once this is done, pretty much what we're going to do is now we are done with the kind of warm-up. So now here, we can go ahead and just quit out of this, and we are now done with the terminal. Now that we are done with installing the NVIDIA drivers as well as the container manager, what we're going to be doing is now going into settings and getting the actual Jellyfin up and running. So first things first, we're going to go into settings here, and most everything should be already set up how it needs to be. One thing is, instead of environment variables, we're going to quickly add one. Currently it has NVIDIA visible devices as all. We just need to add one more called nvidia-driver capabilities with the same value of all. Besides this, nothing else really needs to be added. All you need to do is just do save. This will go ahead and re-launch it, but we are not going to be going inside of it. The next part is going to be a little bit more advanced. We're going to go ahead and go into the settings. We're going to go ahead and export the compose file. So for here, this will download something to my actual desktop. So here is what this is. So this is called a Docker compose file, and pretty much this has all the inner workings that you see here. Now the only thing that we need to change will be one setting, and I quickly did want to just show. Here is the actual manual, and I found I think I passed it. So here was where I found the driver capabilities. All we did, this one was already added, just had to add this one. And then one last thing is right here where it says example Docker compose file. This is what we just had. So now the only thing we need to do is right here, it says deploy resources. As you can see, if we scroll up to the very top, as you can see here, we have reservations, devices, capabilities, but it's a little bit incorrect. We're just going to take where it says devices, and we're going to copy devices, driver count, capabilities, all that, copy it. Go in here and just replace the devices here with this. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and that's pretty much all the changing you would need to do here. Now that that is done, inside of here, everything should be exactly the same. All you need to do is now uninstall, and then you want to uncheck this user data, uninstall that. This is going to uninstall what we currently had. And while we're doing this, inside of here is a great way to test if your GPU and drivers were detected. So inside of here, I'm going to go to the terminal really quickly, log in. Now inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and paste in this NVIDIA command. This right here should launch something that looks very similar to this. Now if you try and do this in your new container and it does not work, this is pretty much to tell if this will work or not. As you can see, this is installed. So now we're going to go to the App Store and search back up Jellyfin. Here in the GPU, we're just going to click on it. We're going to hover over this and do custom install. Everything you should not have to really touch anything here. Just click import. Now we're going to go to that same file you had here. We're just going to do Control A, or just get everything copied. Control C to copy it. Paste it in here, and then we're just going to do submit. Now here it'll say attention. It's going to need the port, location, port mapping, other configurations. Just press OK. You're completely fine. This should be more than completely fine. Everything should already be set up from your old Docker file, which is why we kind of set it up first and then get it working. So now I'm going to go ahead and click install, and this should work exactly the same as it did when we initially installed it. Okay, and now that we have this Jellyfin installed, we can go ahead and go to the settings. And if you need to add anything, but like I said here, this is where I initially added my jelly, and everything should be pretty much exactly the same as before, except with the necessary things. Now quickly, in the terminal and logs, we're going to go ahead and run that test that I was talking about. Whoopsies, I accidentally had the wrong thing copied, but pretty much just going to copy that. I'm going to go ahead and paste. And as you can see here, it is outputting this right here. If it's not outputting this right here, something has gone wrong and something needs to go back and be changed, because the same error that we were having before will happen again. But if you see this like I do, we're clear. We're in the clear. We're good. So now all we got to do is launch up Jellyfin and go into the dashboard, playback, instead of transcoding, NVIDIA, and then make sure this is checked and have everything kind of the same here. Save again, got it, and now if I try and launch from Interstellar, which did not work last time, it should work this time. Not only should it work, it will also be using significantly less CPU power. As you can see here, the CPU is 4% right now, streaming Interstellar. So this will stress out the GPU. If I go to playback info, same thing as before, transcoding, but it's a lot better. Thank you all for watching. If you have any problems throughout this process, or if you had anything else you wanted to mention, please put it down in the comments. I'll try and answer any questions that you may have. All links will be found below. Thank you for watching.